Sage Wanderer here, coming at you from my cabin down by the creek. So, today we're going to talk about whether or not sonic weapons or microwave weapons exist. Are they being used today by U.S. military and other militaries from around the world? Were they used in the capture of Maduro in Caracas, Venezuela, or not? What are the facts? What do we know? And how does this relate to the most terrifying night of my life? Is Tesla's death ray real? Does it exist today? And is it being used around the world? But before we get started, I want to thank all of you who support this channel with your financial gifts. This channel is funded exclusively by viewers like you, and your gifts to my PayPal, to my Cash App, and to my post office box keep this channel funded. You'll find links in the description below if you would like to continue or to begin helping support this channel financially. I have to admit, this time of year is really tough. Most folks are low on money, and it causes a pinch for me every time this year. I still have bills due that I don't have the money to make, so I appreciate any help you can give. Every dollar counts. You'll find links in the description below to help me get through this tough time, and hopefully things will get better in the spring. But I do need your continued financial support to keep the lights on in the cabin and keep these videos coming your way. So, as all of you know, I'm sure, Maduro was captured, taken right out of his bed by Delta Force of the United States military, and is about to stand trial for several charges where he was indicted for various things. Him and his wife were both taken. And now we have a tweet, as it were, that was released from an anonymous source. And in it, the person claims to be a security guard who was on duty the night of the assault by Delta Force on the compound where Maduro was taken from. He claims that a weapon was used that scrambled the defenders and forced them to become unable to defend themselves or the compound in any way. And this is what is responsible for the success of the raid and the zero loss of American lives. And the weapon that he claims was used is described as what he would say a sonic weapon. But there was apparently some kind of wave, a blast that could be felt and or heard that caused the people downrange from it to become nauseous, to start vomiting, in some cases vomiting blood. They started to get nosebleeds, massive headaches, ringing in the ears, unable to stand up, total loss of function of the body. And this allowed Delta Force to just walk right over them and get out perfectly clean. Now, the problem with this, it's one source, it's anonymous, there's no verification of it other than it was retweeted by people inside the Trump organization. And so, whether or not this is true, this is something that Trump would like you to believe is true. But I tend to believe it. If you're a fan of the channel, you know that in 2013, I was a victim of this weapon. If you would like to see that video in my story that occurred in 2013, I think I recorded the video in 2018. And, my channel this is our 9th year. It's my 9th year running this channel. So a long time has passed. It was closer to the event when I first told the story in 2018, because the event for me happened in 2013 when I believe federal agents were attempting to potentially come into my apartment while I slept. And I think they hoped to knock me out. What ended up happening is it knocked my girlfriend unconscious and put her into convulsions. And the effect for me went like this. This is what it felt like being hit with the weapon I was hit with. Whether this was a sonic weapon or a microwave weapon, I think it's directly related to the directed energy death ray weapon that was created by Tesla, supposedly. And, these stories of the use of some kind of weapon that you can't see, taste, feel, or hear, something that is projected at, enemy forces in an attempt to cause them to lay down their arms, give up, quit, lay down, whatever. We first heard this in the first Gulf War when so many Iraqis claimed that they were hit with a similar weapon, and that's why they surrendered without firing a shot. And this is very similar to the more recent story from Venezuela, where it appears that many of the forces didn't even fire back. There was not even a threat return because the use of the weapon was so devastating. And the thing they used on me, I won't, if you want to see the video about that, I put a link in the description to that video from 2018 where I tell that story. But the effect it had on me was, for me, it was instant fight or flight. I was overcome with a panic that seemed to be coming from outside of me rather than inside of me. There was a sizzling sound, sound like boiling at the base of my neck, like a frying sound at the base of my neck where it meets my shoulders or at the base of my skull. Massive headache, immediate nausea, confusion, fear, and anger all mixed together, and a sound that was kind of like a low-pitched hum, an electrical hum, almost like a high voltage hum. And this is the experience that I had. The effect it had on my girlfriend was that it caused her to go into convulsions, and she would have what appeared to be a seizure. And the thing is, when they switched it off and the feeling went away from me, she woke right up with no memory of it. So I do believe that weapon is scalable. You can use it on low levels and cause discomfort. You can use it on higher levels and cause what we saw in what was being reported from this anonymous source in Venezuela, where there's vomiting and bleeding and immense pain and pressure in the head. Or you can just turn it all the way up and just fry people with it. That I believe it's very deadly. It can be non-lethal depending on how they turn it up. Whether this is a sound weapon, like a sonic weapon, or whether this is a microwave weapon, which is probably more likely. The question is, does this exist? Do we know of its existence outside of these stories? Well, we do know about the, I believe it was the Cuba incident, where members of, U.S., United States State Department received damage, permanent damage to their hearing, to their physical health, and they believe this was a Chinese or Russian weapon or Cuban weapon that was being pointed at our ambassadors and their staff. And the result for them was loss of hearing, loss of vision, fatigue, pain in some cases, bloody noses. And there was, and it left them with permanent damage. It wasn't just a temporary thing. It left them with permanent issues. The Havana syndrome, they call it. And so we know that that happened and that our enemies used it on our own diplomats. And to assume they have something we don't, it would be, unwise to assume that. So what do we know the government has that is common knowledge? Well, one of them is called the Access Denial System, ADS. The symptoms from that unseen invisible weapon that can be pointed at your enemies is a burning sensation on the skin. It heats up the skin, makes it feel uncomfortable, makes it feel like you stepped in front of an intense heat lamp, and it makes you want to run away. And so we know that exists now, and is kind of public knowledge. But the microwave weapon or the sonic weapon, like the one potentially used in Venezuela, like the one potentially used against me, is still, I guess, top secret, and is not something the government wants to talk about. But I do believe that that weapon fully exists. I believe it's probably based on the studies of Nikola Tesla, who built prototypes of this kind of high energy weapon that could be used to induce pain, cause submission, confusion on the battlefield, or even injury or permanent injury or death. I know that the brief amount of time they used the weapon on me in Colorado, that I believe there was feds using it, was probably a much smaller, less powerful version. But I think that this is probably common knowledge amongst troops that are designed to come in and overtake a situation with as little bloodshed as possible. Like they want to come in with overwhelming force, take control of a situation, and so they can employ these type of weapons. Now, having been a veteran of covering the riots and demonstrations in Portland, I know the Portland police there use a sonic weapon. It can be heard, kind of. It's very high pitched, and it's if you got a little hearing damage, you won't even hear it, but you do feel it. It causes you to feel disoriented, irritated. You just want to get away from it. And I have stood in front of that weapon and behind it. And there's a discernible difference between being in front of it and being behind it. And they don't even hide it. It looks like a big bass drum up on a stand, and they point it. It's kind of like a giant flat speaker. And that sonic weapon is used to disturb, what was it, dispense with the crowd? There's a word I'm missing there. But it's used to disperse, there it is, disperse crowds in these riot situations. So I really think the future of modern warfare, a lot of people that think that they can just use World War II or Vietnam era tactics to fight against these modern armies, I think that you're in for a rude awakening. I think that there's a lot of weapons out there that are currently being fielded, that are still top secret, that are still not being shared, but are being used when necessary. And I do believe the one account, although it's unverifiable, it makes perfect sense as to how Delta Force was able to come in, take a dictator out of his own bed, and leave without any casualties on the United States side. Along with this description of the weapon was the overall impression of the security guard who'd never seen troops shoot so accurately and so quickly. And the speed at which our troops were able to descend onto this compound and seize this dictator was mind-boggling, according to this anonymous account. But I tend to believe it because of my own experience. I know that some kind of weapon was used on me that was invisible, that was designed to incapacitate me, potentially knock me out, put me in the same position my girlfriend was in. I just think our physiology was so different that they failed to be able to use the weapon properly on me, because if they turned it up enough to knock me out, I think it would have killed my much smaller, frailer girlfriend. And so at least that weapon seemed to be necessary for it to be scaled to body size or endurance, that if you got it strong enough to kill or to take down a big man, it would kill smaller people. That body mass or density played a role in that experience. And I could see it because it was much more devastating to her than to me. I was still capable of fighting through the fog and the confusion. And I think that's what caused them to back away, was their plan didn't work, you know. And I just think they were coming in to bug the place, and they were testing the weapon on me like a guinea pig. And I've heard other stories of people having similar experiences when confronting federal law enforcement or military around the world. That these invisible weapons of submission do exist. They're probably built on the basis or on the research of Nikola Tesla and his death ray. And these directed energy microwave weapons or sonic weapons are the future of modern warfare. I don't know of anyone offering any kind of shielding or any kind of device to defend against these. And I think it's a game changer. So if you're looking at civil war in America, if people are thinking about standing up against major governments like the US, China, and Russia, I think that these weapons can be used and are being used. There's the Havana syndrome. There's this report, along with others who say they have been victimized or been victims of this kind of weapon, including myself. Tell me what you think in the comments section. Trump has said that there are weapons that have not been unveiled, that are beyond imagination, that we have at our disposal, and the world would be shocked when they're used. I will say this: the efficiency of removing Maduro from Caracas, Venezuela was mind-boggling. It was, whether you agree or disagree with the legality or the necessity of doing it, it was pulled off without a glitch. It was pulled off without a hitch. It was pulled off with precise perfection. And maybe the sonic weapon or the microwave weapon, the directed energy weapon that caused these soldiers to lay down their arms, to fall down in their footprint, to bleed from the nose, to vomit blood. I think that they could have potentially killed them all had they just turned up the juice. This is going to change the way war is conducted in the future. And I think in our lifetime, we'll see it become public knowledge. But tell me, what do you think? Is it paranoid ramblings? Was this propaganda? Was this post just meant to shake up the president of Mexico because there was a veiled threat, you're next. That was pretty much what Donald Trump said to the government of Mexico and to Cuba. And even now, it seems like we're preparing for an invasion and a regime change in Iran. Will the directed energy or sonic weapon or microwave weapons be used in that conflict? I think it's highly likely. I think we're going to be seeing an unveiling of technology that has been under development for decades and is now potentially perfected. I will say, however they did it, Delta Force pulled off a slick one when they nabbed Maduro, to the point where a lot of people wonder whether it was all staged and Maduro gave himself up to escape some kind of death sentence in his own country. Tell me what you think in the comments section. Thanks for tuning in. Please support the channel. If I have to go out and get a day job, I know the videos will suffer or even cease to exist. So if you appreciate the content, you like what I do, if you're enlightened, if you're entertained, if you think I'm silly, it don't matter. Drop me some cash in the Cash App or the PayPal, or send something to my post office box to help me keep afloat. And we'll see you next time from my cabin down by the creek.